Hey YouTube, what's up? So I've been on the tent peak now for close to a year, probably 10 months or so. I think I got it in April of last year. Don't really know. Anyways, I've been riding it enough where I feel as if I can give a true and honest long-term review on it. And that's what I'm gonna do. There's some definitely good things about the bike. There's some bad things about the bike, but I definitely want to just share my thoughts on the bike. It is a good bike overall, but I'll get into the nitty gritty. I haven't done much to the bike at all. The only thing I've actually done to the bike is I went from the 170 stock air shock to the 190. 170 felt good, but for my style of riding and where I ride, I'm local to Simi Valley, so I ride Rocky Peak a lot. It was just, on some of the rollers and some of the drops, it was too harsh. Once I upped the travel, I felt a lot better riding the bike. So that was definitely an upgrade that I would recommend if you're doing some harsh riding or just want more travel. Aside from that, the bike is pretty much stock the way it came. I was gonna switch to a coil, but I'm actually really happy with this Super Deluxe Ultimate. It handles the chunk really well. It's really plush, it's really soft. So I'm actually not gonna put a coil on the bike. Aside from that, I switched the tires out. I went to Delium in the rear because my DHR popped pretty easily. I was a little upset at that Maxxis, and it was a double down hard casing, but so I switched that. I'm still riding the Assegai up front, so I'm happy with that tire setup where I'm at. I have been having a couple of issues that have been ongoing with the bike, and I'll highlight those. One is the TRP brakes. I've had issues with TRP brakes since day one. Not necessarily Fezzari's fault. I think it was more TRP's fault, and the reps sent me some brake pads to try to like make me feel better, whatever. But they made me do a lot of extra work to get the brake pads to where they should be. The calipers weren't coming out properly when you would press on the lever, so they wanted me to do some like flush on the levers and do a bunch of other things, and they weren't working good for the first 6 months, and I had to take it to bike shops and mechanics, and Fezzari had to reimburse me some money for doing all that work. Now they're at the point where they're a little more consistent. They still feel spongy from time to time, which is very weird. But aside from that, I do like the brakes. I do like how they modulate. I do like how they work. But I'm literally the only guy, probably in SoCal, who's having issues with their TRP brakes. So I'm not 100% fan of the TRP brakes. The other thing that I had an issue on was the crown of the fork. I guess RockShox made a bunch of Zebs that were just malfunctioning, and it had a clicky noise. So the first few videos that I posted, there was this annoying clicky noise all throughout the ride. Didn't know what the hell it was. I switched so much stuff in the headset, from the spacers to the stem to the handlebars, just to see if I can eliminate the noise. And then I come to find out that it's coming from the actual fork itself. My local mechanic told me that. So I had to get a warranty through RockShox. They had to send me they didn't send me a new fork. They didn't want to. They wanted to rebuild this fork. So luckily I had the fork from my Nukeproof that I put on this bike. Well, this one went out to get warrantied, and then it came back, and then they did something wrong. I had to resend it back out, and then I got it back again, and then it was finally working properly, and then I put it back on the Nuke. I'm sorry, on the Timp. So all that took about 2 months. Bullshit. So again, Fezzari, no. RockShox and TRP, I kind of blame it on them, but I also kind of blame it on Fezzari. Like, aren't you testing your bikes before you send them out? Don't you like do a QC on the products that you're receiving, or are you just pumping the bikes out that fast? Oh yeah, that's another thing that happened to me. I cracked the frame at the headset right here, which I don't do aggressive riding. I really don't, but it cracked on me. So I had to warranty the frame. Luckily, Fezzari was really good with the warranty. They took it back pretty fast. They sent the front triangle back really fast. My local bike shop swapped it out, sent it back. They reimbursed me for the cost to get that done, and then I was back on the bike pretty quickly, to be honest. So I don't understand why it cracked. It is carbon, it's lifetime warranty. I don't ride that hard. I don't send shit the way other guys that I ride with send shit, so I'm pretty I was baffled the fact that it cracked, but it is what it is. But they took care of me really quick on that one. So for that one, kudos Fezzari. The customer service on that one was awesome. Like, I got nothing to say bad about that. Another issue that I've had recently is the motor's been shutting off on me while I'm riding. Just turns off. Not sure why. first 6-7 months that I was doing it wasn't happening. All of a sudden it's happening, and I don't understand why it just started happening. So my local mechanic checked it out. She said it was probably the battery. So we're using the strap now on the cover to hold the battery closer to the body. I rode it once, it didn't turn off. Maybe that was the issue. I'm gonna ride it again tomorrow. I'm gonna see if it turns off again. But if that is the issue, then that whole rail system that they have, that they said the battery holds lower to the ground or higher to the ground or whatever, it's not really working. And this cover is like an afterthought. It's rink-a-dink, it's terrible. It's pretty much a piece of shit. So now I gotta ride with this on it to kind of put pressure onto the battery. Yeah, kind of bullshit. Well, aside from those 3 pretty big ticket items, the bike's been running pretty good. Jump's good, ride's good, pedal's good. It's really comfortable. I've done some really long rides. I've taken this bike on tons of terrain, Laguna Beach, Santa Cruz, all over my local road rides with the wife and kids. And it's a good overall bike. I still don't like the placement of the sensor in the back. I think that's a little bit hokey. But, you know, I guess it is what it is when it comes to that. But the bike is really, really good overall. The battery, I'm not too sure. It's not a Shimano battery. It's a Darfong battery, whatever the hell. So they can't really diagnose it here at my local. But I don't feel like I'm getting the same battery life. Honestly, when I first got the bike, you know, on trail boost, kind of fluctuating from both, I would get 15 to 18 miles. Now I'm getting like 12 to 15. So I don't know if that's me. I don't know if that's the battery. My elevation's not changing. I'm riding the same loops over and over again. I know that it shouldn't be degrading on me that fast, so I don't know. I don't charge it every single time I ride. I don't charge it at the end of every single time I ride. I usually charge it the night before I ride, and I don't leave it plugged in. I unplug it. I just make sure it's charged, and that's it. I'm good to go. So I don't really know what's going on with that. Maybe it's in my head. Maybe it is the battery. But now that I do have the battery, and it's a 635 battery, it's a pretty big battery. I do wish it was a 700. I wish it was a 750 or 720, whatever that range is. You don't think you need it until you're riding, and your buddies have it, and they're like at 16 miles, and they're like, I got 30%, and you're like, I'm dead. That's a shitty feeling. So I definitely wish the battery was bigger. I wish they were able to put a bigger battery in it, or at least have an extender. That'd be cool. But you got to swap the whole battery out and get an extra battery, which I guess is not, worst case. But when you're out on a ride and you want to do a 25-mile ride, yeah, you can drop it in trail, you can drop it in eco, but that's not how I want to ride either. I don't want to struggle that much. I want to cruise those 25. So it'd be cool if there was an extender option for this. But that's something else. Aside from that, the AXS is good. I like the screen for the motor. It's a mullet setup. The bottom bracket is really, really low. It could be because it's on the mullet setup. I do pedal strike a lot. I do hit rocks a lot when I go on rock rolls. So there are a couple sections that I just purposely go around now because I know I'm going to just hit the bottom of my bottom bracket, and it's annoying. I don't want that. So I don't blame that necessarily on the bike's geo, because I like the geo of the bike. I do think it is because of the low setting right here on the pivot, because you're on the 27.5. That's just something to consider, especially when you're climbing techie stuff. Forget about it. You're pedal striking like up and down. I've fallen so many times on this bike pedaling up because of pedal strikes. But that's also because I'm a shitty climber, so don't judge me on that alone. But yeah, overall the bike's good, performs well. I definitely enjoy riding. I definitely don't have regrets buying the bike, that's for sure, especially at the price point that I got it at. Although they did drop the price and throw the new T-Type GX on it about 2 months after I bought it, which was bullshit. But hey, it is what it is. Now, knowing what I know now, riding the bike for almost a year, would I buy it again? Probably not. I don't think I would definitely buy a bike with a 700 watt battery or more. The Geo is really good. The components are really good, but I just don't think I would buy it again with all the issues that I've had. Maybe if I haven't had all the issues that I had, I would probably turn that into a yes, and I definitely would buy the bike again. Again, it's more RockShox and TRP, but I don't know. I don't. It's kind of tainted the purchase for me a little bit, if that makes any sense. It doesn't make me feel good. So why would I spend another $8,000 on this bike when, granted, I may have to spend a little bit more, maybe 2 more, 3 more, whatever, but you can go out and get a much better bike with a bigger battery and just, I don't know, maybe not those issues. But then again, I don't know. A lot of buddies of mine have Crestlines and they're having issues with the battery and they're having issues with the frame, and so who knows. Those are pretty much like the 3 main things: cracked frame, brakes, and the fork that was giving me hell with noise the whole time. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, it's a good bike. It's a good overall bike. Would I recommend people buying it? Yes. I tell people on Trailhead all the time, like, get the bike. It's a good bike. Fezzari's a good brand. They definitely stand behind their customer service. Like, I'm not going to not tell people to tell the bike, but I do tell them the problems that I've had. And I do tell them the issues that I've come up with riding the bike. Because that's just being honest, and that's just me just being me. But I do like it. I'm happy that I'm on an e-bike. I still have my Nukeproof, and I'm riding my Nukeproof a lot more now just because it's a fun bike to ride. But yeah, Fezzari's, well, now it's Ari. I guess that news just dropped earlier this week. But they did a good job with this bike. So kudos to them. Hopefully version 2, they can take care of a couple of the minor tweaks, and maybe they can, the components they're getting from their suppliers, maybe they can QC them a little bit better this go around. But aside from that, it's looking good. If you have any questions or stuff that I didn't cover with the bike, or just have any questions in general, comment below or hit me up on my Instagram, and I'll definitely be able to answer you as best I can. But yeah, overall, good. Bye.